What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back for a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time we were on, we found out that the person we've been talking to on the phone isn't Shion, and that Shion's been missing ever since Tomiki and Takano died. And it turned out to be Mion, and she gave us quite a scare. Or at least she did. At least she did to me. So, let's get right on to it. Let's view these notes. The problem with twins. This is not limited to just Himazawa, but in Ogafuchi village especially. The three families detested giving birth to twins as successors. Oh. The long-term dictatorship built on the precarious balance of the three families must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife and things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, they had to be culled. With that, the very fact that both the Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin Shion are alive is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current reader or you is sympathetic. Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the town lies sorry with Mion. My own observations of the two of them don't leave me with that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one onto his or her back. In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back. From what I've heard, there is apparently a magnificent demon tattooed on Oryu's back as well. Then I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir Mion. I really want to see her back. Interesting. So twins are frowned upon, huh? Ooh, that's not good. Also, a demon on Mion's back. What would that look like? Kind of like a dragon like Kiryu. Reserved for the day, Suzu Mahjong Power. Quite a crack.
あんりゃ、クラちゃん。あんたが一番遅いよ。若い人はみんな揃ってる。
じゃあお母さん、すみませんね。
Oshi handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes into the old lady who owned the mahjong parlor, and she shrewdly made herself scarce. She was used to this by now.
おいさん、お疲れ様っす。
なんだ、みんな真面目に待ってたんですか？さんまでもやってりゃよかったのに。
Everyone sitting at the mahjong tables in the small parlor were Oshi's subordinates, but there were no tiles laid out anywhere.
皆さん、連日の不眠不休の捜査、本当にお疲れ様です。
よし!
Energetic responses filled the parlor. Already had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment.
状況は芳しくありません。所長が園崎系議員の恫喝に屈したそうです。近日中に高野殺しはお隣の県警さんに譲り、村長たちの失踪は行方不明扱いで生活課に委ねるようです。
Damn congressman. That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him.
請求した令状もすべて却下されました。課長からは園崎家界隈には近づくなとまで言われています。
Well,
いやいや困ったもんです。ちなみに私には来週から警視庁への研修命令が出るそうです。その後は余った有給を伊豆で消化しろとまで言われています。いや、そういうのも悪くないですね。
He heard a few dry laughs. It wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do.
いつもそうですが、事件と車のキーの閉じ込めはよく似ています。開けるための鍵はいつもその中に閉じ込められているんです。車なら修理業者を呼んで扉をこじ開ける。事件なら熊ちゃん、図面を。
Kumagai flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises made with magnets.
私もずーっとこの商売をやってます。勘には自信があるつもりですがね。退職金が欲しい方は私が10数える間に席を外してください。
Oshi began to count to 10, and everyone counted along with him. It was their famous 10-count resolution.
9、10。ああ、誰も出てかないよ。皆さん、ご家族はもっと大切にしてくださいよ。
Everybody laughed uproariously, cheering things up.
各自、手元の資料を確認。監視カメラの所在と資格を叩き込んでください。
Damn, they're really going to break in, huh?
クマちゃんは指揮者で待機。非常時は私に代わって指揮をお願いしますよ。小宮山君は突入 A 班、淳君は突入 B 班を指揮。監視班は1から8まで所定の位置で監視を。ボンチ君はタイムテーブルを厳守。書に怪しまれないようローテを管理してください。さて、待機中の班が一番大仕事ですよ。課長に私の所在を聞かれたらとぼけてください。ゲストのエスコート役は私がやります。きっと会場へ連れて行きますので、皆さん気長に待っててください。
落ちるっすか
Just,
ね
huh?
前原圭一は。
Oh.
私の見たところじゃ、明日明後日には行けそうですよ。もうコロッとね。
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Escorting our guests, catchy, huh? Let's see what's going to happen then. Because I'm pretty sure we're nearing the end of this chapter. Oh, yeah. I think this is the final chapter because I just got the achievement for looking at all the tips. So, yeah, let's go then.
Keiichi.
放っておいてやれ。友達が行方不明になったんだ。気の毒にな。
Normally my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did.
うちの圭一もしばらくの間学校を控えた方がいいんじゃないのか。警察が何とかするまで外出を控えた方が安全だと思うぞ。
そうね。もしもってことに比べたら、学校を何日かお休みにするくらい。
それよりもこんな物騒な事態になったら学校なんか休校にするのが筋じゃないのか。まったく学校の先生方は人の子を何だと思ってるんだ。
Mom and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but at this point I couldn't care less. Besides, that wasn't the only thing I couldn't care less about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date, myself, I really had no interest in anything. This feeling, it was like a dead fog in my mind. Felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication.
圭一、学校の勉強はどうなんだ。圭一の方が進んでるくらいじゃないのか。もしそうならしばらくお休みしてもいいんだぞ。
I didn't even feel like answering. Today was Thursday. Only 4 days had passed since the Higurashi festival. Such a short time, and yet now things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. That night, I couldn't resist my honestly tiny little incredibly stupid curiosity and broke the taboo.
ここは入ってはいけないところなんだろう。やめようぜ。鍵がかかっているのを勝手に開けて押し入るなんて、たとえ物を盗まなくったって犯罪なんだぞ。シオンだってこれが密会現場じゃないと分かったなら十分だろう。俺はこんなのには全然興味はないんだ。こんなところにいる間にリカちゃんの演舞が終わっちゃったらどうするんだよ。
I put it on as I took the lock from Tomiki-san's hands and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on. Let's go, let's go. Takano-san was fretting, but I pushed her away. Tomiki-san grinned painfully. Chion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot. Even so, I didn't care. They pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika-chan's dance was still going on. Then at last her dance was brought to a close with roaring applause. I, too, until my hands turned red, I clapped and I clapped. Ding dong.
レナちゃんじゃない？いつもの時間だから迎えに来たんじゃない？
I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past my time to meet with Lena.
ケイチ、しばらく学校を休んだ方がいいんじゃないのか？
そうだね。気を使ってくれてありがとう。
I rose from my seat. I went to the entrance to greet Lena.
おはよう。今日から集団登校だから。遅れちゃダメだよ。
Ah, that's right. If we, the ones furthest away, were to be late, the younger kids on the way there would be waiting for us.
俺さ、今日からしばらく休むことにするよ。学校。
うん。
When I answered shortly, nodding.
ケイチ君が自分の体に一番優しい過ごし方を選ぶべきだと思う。だから別に引け目を感じることなんかないと思うな。あ、それからこれ回覧板、お母様に渡しておいてくれるかな。いろいろ大事なお知らせがあるみたいだから。
I took the notice. There were a lot more pages than normal. The one on top announced the disappearance of the mayor, Rika-chan and Sadako, and that they wanted any information about them. It made my heart ache.
警察も必死に探してくれてる。きっと見つかるから。待ってよ。ね。
Lena said, smiling in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that, though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe.
レナは俺を問い詰めないんだな。
うん。
レナは知ってるんだろ。俺があの晩
西宮殿に忍び込んだことかな。
I was speechless for a moment, but then I bit my lip, made up my mind, and nodded a little.
筒抜けなんだな。まったく悪いことはするもんじゃないよ。
みーちゃんはすごく怒ってたよ。
So she was upset. I suppose she would have been.
でもね、きっとみーちゃんが怒ってたのは忍び込んだことよりもそれを隠していたことだと思うの。ケイチ君は自分から言い出して謝らなくちゃいけなかったんじゃないかな。
I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, I did something that I myself should have apologized to Mion for. I'd hurt her badly. However, I didn't realize that at all. Plus, with all the confusion that Chion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it.
レナの言う通りだな。俺はいつもレナに教えられるまで何も気づかなくて。
ケイチ君、もしもだよ。もしもケイチ君が悪いことをしたことをすぐに認めてみーちゃんに謝っていたら、リカちゃんとサトコちゃんはいなくならずに済んだのかな。
Jeez. I couldn't answer right away. I couldn't admit to that. Wasn't Rena telling me right now, though, that I should have admitted to my crime sooner? If I had done that and apologized, would things not have gone in such a horrible direction? Rena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they were naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent, and they stared fixedly into my own.
ああ、そうだ。
If I had admitted my crime sooner, then Rika-chan and Sadako wouldn't have to die or disappear. Smack! The palm of one of his hands slapped me in the cheek. I stood there, unmoving, my head still tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt at all.
誰も圭一君のことを叱らなかったと思う。だから私が代わりに圭一君を叱るね。
I pressed a hand to my cheek, now warm with embarrassment, and quietly stared down at Lena's feet.
入ってはいけないところに勝手に入るのはとても悪いこと。それはわかる？
ああ。
返事ははいだよ。圭一君。
はい。
そしてもっと悪いのは自分が悪いことをしたのを認めないこと。悪いことをするのはとてもいけないことだけど、それを認めて謝らないことはもっともっと悪いことなんだよ。
はい。僕が悪かったです。
For a few moments, Lena stared at me, silently, intensely, as if guard gauging my remorse. Then finally the tension in her face softened, and she smiled.
じゃあもう時間だから私は行くよ。
ああ。
回覧板お母様に渡しておいてね。あと回覧板は暗くなったら持っていかないようにって注意付きだから。
It's very interesting. I mean, yes, Kechi did break a taboo in the village, but I really don't think that justifies murder and disappearance of everyone around him personally, you know? What was truly so bad in the ritual house? Besides, Willie, all we found was instruments of the past, of horrible things happening in the past, you know? And sometimes we want to keep the past hidden away from others, not to scare them away or anything like that, but is the past so dark that you have to make the people who did it die? Or even the people that set up the lock in the first place die or disappear? How truly dark is the past that you have to kill people or make them disappear? I bent down to pick up the notice, which I dropped when she slapped me. The pages had come out of the clasp and were now making a mess on the floor. I gathered them up one by one. My hand stopped at a single, more white-hearted page with peaceful sentences dancing on it. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some.
なんだこれ。
I picked up the page and scanned the list of it. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce they got from faraway relatives in the Akita prefecture. They had gotten a big shipment recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted some of it to feel free to come over. That's what it said. As a PS, it said it arrived in barrels, and to please bring a 2-liter bottle or other container for it. That's how it tied together. Huh.
醤油をもらいに行くなら園崎家か。レナ、お前ひょっとして知ってたんじゃ。
うん。知ってた。
Lena had already been suspicious of Mion as soon as she noticed that the big bottle of soy sauce was missing. Oh, motherfucker. Rika-chan had taken the bottle and gone to Mion's house, and there she was erased. Rika-chan wasn't coming back, so Sadako called Mion's house since she knew where she had gone, and then Sadako got called there as well. I was right. My theory was right. It was fucking Mion. That meeting on the day the mayor disappeared. Didn't Oshi-sensei that the three families participated in it? The three families would include the Sonozaki family. Didn't he also say that the current leader was really old, so her heir, Mion, frequently stood in her for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning from the shrine, Mion called out and stopped him. She talked to him, invited him to their house, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. Shion was part of the Sonozaki family. They probably knew exactly what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even knew her part-time job schedule too. Thinking back, wasn't that Angel Mort store managed by the Sonozaki family? Yeah, by one of their uncles. Setting up an ambush for her there wouldn't have been any trouble at all.
俺ミオンのところへ行く。謝ってくるよ。もう全部終わりにしてもらう。ミオンはきっと簡単には許してくれないだろうけど、もうこれ以上誰も犠牲にならないように頼んでくる。
Let's go face our demons. With that decided, there was no need for me to be wazing around here. I put on my shoes and swept past Wenna to exit the house. When she stopped me.
私も行くよ。
レナ、学校はいいのかよ。
学校なんかよりもっと大切な用事だよ。
レナは来るな。この上レナまで巻き込まれたら俺は頭がどうにかなってしまうかもしれない。
Wenna didn't move her arm, which was blocking my way.
ケイチ君までいなくなったら私も頭がどうにかなってしまうかもしれない。だからケイチ君だけを行かせない。
Wenna argued boldly as tears welled up in her eyes. I saw them and I knew the strength of her resolve.
わかった。行こう。ありがとう、レナ。
Wenna nodded slightly but firmly and finally let down the arm blocking me. Let's go to Mion's house. I'll apologize for the crimes I've committed. Then we'll put an end to these twisted days. After that, I'll pray that once more we can return to those fun, lively days. With Wenna following me, I left the house. In front of the house, there was a car waiting. It was Oshi-san's.
いやー、おはようございます。前原さん、それから龍宮さんも朝から羨ましいですね。
What a truly praiseworthy man he was if he had been lying in wait so early in the morning just to pressure me into talking. On this morning, though, maybe this was actually a good opportunity.
警察の方ですよね。
ありゃ、龍宮さんには名乗ってませんでしたっけ？これは失礼しました。私、沖宮署の大石と申します。どうぞよろしく。
大石さんに喋るのか？
うん。ケイチ君の罪は私の平手だけであがなえるけど、みーちゃんの罪はこの人たちにあがなってもらわなくちゃいけない。
Yeah. Pain and sadness. I looked down as those emotions built up in my heart.
大石さんにお話があります。
はてはて、どんなお話でしょうか？ここで立ち話します？それとも車の中でしますか？
車の中でします。
I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was be thankful for how dependable Lena was. It's so interesting, this different side of Lena we've seen in this chapter. At Lena's urging, I revealed everything to Oshi-san. The latter, while making sure to throw in murmurs that he was paying attention every now and then, took notes. We continued that way for a while.
どうです。話したらなんだか胸がすっきりしたんじゃないですか？
Oshi-san asked this while scratching his head with his ballpoint pen. Of course I don't feel better. The price that had been paid up until now for me not owning up to my crimes had been so immense. But as long as that payment wasn't returned, the wound in my chest could never be removed. His radio started to emit static.
はい、もしもし、大石です。
学校に先ほど欠席するとの連絡があったそうです。
Yeah.
園崎家前は動きなし。標的はまだ艇内です。
はいはい、引き続き見張りお願いします。
了解しました。3号7号は先ほど応援が到着、起動しました。あと課長は大石さん探してるみたいっす。私のとこにも連絡がつき次第ってさっきから何回もうるさいっすけど、どうします？
ね答えに窮したら、実は居眠りしてて起こさないように言われてるとかごまかしといてください。
了解っす。
Does the radio grew silent?
いや失礼、仕事の連絡でした。
今園崎家前は動きなしって言ってましたよね。
ありゃ、そんな風に聞こえちゃいました？そりゃ困ったな。秘密にしてくださいよ。課長から内定の許可はもらってないんですから。
Oshi-san had suspected Mion for a long time.
事情聴取も家宅捜査もとにかく何にも許可が下りないんですよ。園崎本家を守ろうという園崎家の防衛機能がガッキガキに作用しちゃってるらしくて、令状がなくちゃ私たち現行犯以外は何にも手出しできませんからね。
大石さんってひょっとして。
Mana's tone of voice alone was enough to make her spite clear as she stared at Oshi-san.
園崎家に踏み込めないものだから圭一君に踏み込ませようとしてたんじゃないですか？
レナ、それはどういう意味だ？
Damn.
この人は私の想像通りならとても卑劣な人。
人聞きが悪いですね。でもお説は拝聴しますよ。
Oshi-san lit a cigarette and responded to Lena, wearing an expression implying he was calm and willing to let her comments slide.
あなたは令状が取れないけれどみーちゃんが怪しいとずっと狙いをつけていた。圭一君を焚きつけて園崎家へ向かわせようと企んだ。そして圭一君に何かがあればそれを口実に踏み込むつもりだった。そうでしょう。
I only understood about half of what Lena was saying. I knew, however, that Oshi-san had been trying to use me.
その結果圭一君が襲われるかもしれないのに恥知らず。これが警察のやり方なの？
いやいや、こりゃとんだところに名探偵がいたもんです。いやはやいやはや、あなたうちの試験受ける気ありません？刑事課配属の推薦状書いてあげてもいいですよ。
He plays fucking dirty. He does play dirty.
卑劣か。
Lena spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility.
私もいろんな悪口を言われたもんですが、若いお嬢さんの短い一言が一番答えますよ。
でも結果として今日までみーちゃんを逮捕しなかったことには感謝しておきますね。
そりゃどうも。
Oshi-san seemed to be enjoying his exchange with Lena. The things this man fought were like a swamp. I could barely see past the surface. It reminded me again of how much I disliked him.
さて、
Such a duality between the first chapter and this one.
その園崎美音さんの親友であらせられるお二人はこれからどうするつもりです？私が証拠固めを終えて令状が請求できるまでのんびり待っててくれるわけですかな？
そんなの待ちません。私たちが行ってみーちゃんを自首させます。
That's right. If she turned herself in rather than be arrested, she might get a wider sentence. At this point, perhaps that was the only pity I could find in me to afford her.
さてさて、そんなにうまくいくでしょうかね。下手すりゃあなたたちも無事では済まないかもしれませんよ。
Oshi-san was measuring our resolve, so in a strong voice I declared.
そんなのは 覚悟の上です。
Oshi-san gave us an unpleasant yet seemingly satisfied grin. It was then that I realized this man was trying to use us for his own convenience.
もし私たちに何かあったなら、それを口実に踏み込んでください。犯人を取り逃がさないようにぐるりと取り囲んでくださるのが一番の希望なんですが。
Yeah, even if we both die in there, at least there will be some sort of justice for this.
竜宮さんは交渉も上手です。参りましたよ。降参です。
どういうことだよ。
警察の人がみーちゃんの家を包囲しておいてくれるなら、これが万が一の時の保険になるの。万が一の時の。
Shit. Plus, it would be another way of pressuring Mion to give herself up, wouldn't it?
ああ、大石より熊ちゃんへ。大石より熊ちゃんへ。お友達が2人、園崎家へ遊びに行きます。増援をかけられるよう準備だけよろしく願います。
Their altogether's too short conversation imply that our questioning was already a part of their plans.
では、参りましょうか。お茶菓子でも買っていきます？
Neither Rena nor I went along with Oshi-san's stupid joke. Here we fucking go. Time for a standoff. Maybe it will turn into a standoff. Maybe not. Who knows? Oshi stopped the car at the place where we always waited for Mion. Come to think of it, I've never been to Mion's house before. I've only heard that it's right down this road.
お送りできるのはここまでです。情報では、園崎本家は自宅周辺に監視カメラをかなり配置しているらしいんですよ。でもご安心を。何度か死角をついて突入できる位置に若いのが何人か待機してます。指向性マイクで中を伺ってますから、お二人が大きな悲鳴を上げてくださればすぐにわかりますよ。
絶対に説得しますから、自首を認めてくださいね。
Let's hope she turns herself in. In both our eyes was determination. It was the only method available to us for righting the sins of our good friend.
くれぐれも注意してください。今さら信じないでしょうが、できることならあなたたちに犠牲になってほしくないんですから。
本当に今更だな。
With that rude response, we left the car. The clinging humidity and voices of the cicadas greeted us. I'd never have expected this would be happening today.
行こう、ケイチ君。
When I took the lead and began to walk down the road I'd never been.
レナはミオンの家には行ったことがあるんだよな。
うん、何度もあるよ。とても大きな家でね。お庭なんか山が丸ごと入るくらいあるんだよ。松茸が取れるとかなんとかで、いつもは柵がしてあるんだけどね。
Big house, huh? Big enough to fit a mountain. That was amazing. One of the three families controlling Himizawa and the head family of the Sonozaki clan. Perhaps there was something to be said about its magnitude. The path continued onward, level and uneventful. There were metal fences along its edges, and beyond them were woods with trees growing thickly. The fences were high, the tops of them bent inward, sticking out like sharp spears. Plus, there was dangerous-looking barbed wire wrapping them. No one could look at them and not feel intimidated. In addition, there were signboards hung up here and there along the fence. Private property of the Sonozaki family, entrance forbidden. Beware of venomous snakes. Active security cameras. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1 million yen.
この森、いや、山か。まるまる庭なのか。
庭というか、領地だね。 見ての通り私有地ではあるけど、手入れも何もしてないから、散策ができるような気持ちいい森というわけでもないし。
Perfect place to be hiding in. She could say that again. It really did feel like a neglected, savage woodland. It was dark and damp, and certainly not a forest that made you want to go for a nice walk. Maybe that's just what happens when a landowner has too much land. Like Oshi-san said, there were security cameras hung up all over the place, though they had been weathered by wind and rain, causing doubt as to whether they were even functional.
俺たちが来るのをミオンはあれを通して見てるんだろうか。
見てないと思うな。だってみーちゃんの家は基本的におばあちゃんとみーちゃん本人の2人しか住んでないんだもの。カメラを見張ってる人がいないし。
What a useless security system.
みーちゃんのお父さんがいろいろ大変な人みたいでね。だから一族がみんなで集まるときにはちゃんと機能しているらしいよ。
That's right. Mion's father here was a big shot yakuza, wasn't he? Went as smoothly danced around the answer as she explained. At last, a huge gate, as big as I imagined, appeared. Was she living by herself with her grandmother in a house with such a grand gateway?
いるかな。
Beep. The old buzzer made a dull sound. Was it cut off in the middle and not getting to the house? We waited long enough without a response for me to start thinking like that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking through gravel on the other side of the gate. I nervously balled my hands, my palms now sweating into fists. There was the clang of a bolt being released, and the gate opened slightly. The person peeking out of the gap was none other than Mion.
こんな時間に珍しいね。二人とも学校は？
Mion didn't seem all that surprised at visitors arriving in the morning, which wasn't a normal time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand.
学校は休んだよ。
ケイちゃんはともかく、レナも？二人とも不良なんだからな。
Mion smiled widely, in the way that the Mion we knew always did.
立ち話もなんでしょ。入りなよ。
She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment, looking at Rena.
行こう。
Rena smiled cheerfully as she were passing through the gate of a good friend's house, and then did just that. I rally myself and then go through the gate too. To the gates of hell. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained very well, but it was clear that the lot was magnificently wide. It wasn't quite what you think of when you hear mansion, but it was very clearly a vast place.
ケイちゃんはうちに来るの初めてだったっけ？
ああ。でけえ家じゃねえか。
今時合掌造りなんて流行らないよ。観光資源にはなるかもしれないけどね。私は早くごくごく平均的な鉄筋コンクリートに建て替えてほしいと思ってるよ。
Lots of buildings. Mion dryly smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and re-locked the heavy bolt.
気にしないで。最近は物騒だからね。日中でもこれくらいはしておかないと。
ああ、そうだな。
Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw the hint of a shadow in her smile.
では、ご案内申し上げます。どうぞこちらへ。
Mion bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, then pivoted on her heel and began to walk. Lena gripped my stiffening arm lightly.
ケイチ君、硬くなりすぎかな。私たちはみーちゃんに会いに来たんだよ。そんなに緊張することはないんだから。
I mean, still. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I'll stop tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us. Oshi-san's subordinates were waiting outside the gate for us too. There was nothing to worry about. After thinking about it that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone, and laughed at myself. Oh, shit.
なんだこりゃ。ミオン、この新聞紙の上に置いてある漬物石は何だ？
God damn, this whole thing is just so tense already. It really does feel final as well.
邪魔だぞ。
There was a pile of newspapers on the floor of the entrance, and there was a large rock on top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was here. Mona noticed me looking at it questioningly and giggled.
レナは知ってるのか？これは何だ？何かのおまじないか？
ケイちゃんがよくわからないなら、それをどかしてそこに靴を脱いでもいいんだけど。
ケイチくん、その石の真上にね、ツバメの巣があるの。
え？あ、本当だ。
人様の家なのにツバメが勝手に入ってきて巣を作ってるってわけ。代々語り継いでるのか、季節になると決まってここに巣を作るんだよ。迷惑してるんだけどね。
つまりね、そこはツバメの糞とかが落ちてきて危ないから靴を脱がないようにっていう目印なの。
I couldn't help but laugh at this silly contrivance. My laughter naturally spread to the other two.
園崎家も大昔養蚕とかやってたことがあるらしくてね。ご先祖様はツバメ退治に躍起になったそうだけどね。それを思うとこれはちょっと罰当たりなのかな。ま、上がって上がって。
The inside of the house wasn't very bright at all. It was dimly lit, in fact, but mysteriously I could still feel an elegance to the place. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either.
冗談でしょ。隙間風は入るし、冬場は寒いし。人の家を勝手に文化財にして改築を妨害しないでもらいたいね。一番の理想はケイちゃんの家でしょ。あれは羨ましいよな。冬場は暖かそうだし。あ、でも雪下ろしは大変かもね。
雪下ろしは大変って、そんなに雪が降るのか？ひなみ沢は。井戸は関東より南なくらいだろ。ここいらって暖かい土地なんじゃないのか？
ケイチくん知らないの？ひなみ沢は豪雪地帯なんだよ。大雪が降るとみんな埋まっちゃうの。玄関なんか埋まっちゃう時もあるんだよ。止めた車が完全に埋まっちゃって見つからないことだってあるんだから。
I wasn't aware of that. Imizawa was that bad a place in the winter? Come to think of it, my dad, he said something like, this place got plenty of snow so we could have fun building igloos. Still, your front door getting buried, not being able to find your car? It's way too much snow.
地理の授業で習ったでしょ。日本海側は大陸からの寒風がそのまま流れてくるからね。山脈で遮られてぬくぬくしてるような軟弱な太平洋側とはわけが違うんだから。
俺、軟弱でもぬくぬくでも何でもいい。寒いのは嫌だ。
これは今年の冬はケイちゃんを寒さに慣らすための強化合宿が必要だね。
嫌だ嫌だ、全力で嫌だ。寒いのは嫌いだ。強化合宿も嫌いだ。両方合わさったらもっと嫌いだ。
Mion laughed more uproariously than she ever had, then told us she'd bring out some tea and left her seat for the moment.
でもね、冬は冬で楽しいことがいっぱいあるんだよ。 冬の部活もね、きっと楽しいんだよ。
冬の部活か。実に嫌な響きのある部活だぞ。寒中水泳やら雪中行軍やらここはいつから八甲田山になったんだ。
うん、確かに冬場の罰ゲームは辛いのが多いね。雪が降ってる校庭でリオのカーニバルをさせられたことある。
Jeez. You see, the terror of our club cared not for the season. The victor would be decided by who could best adapt to the winter-only events.
雪合戦もやるし、かき氷の大食いとか雪中宝探しとか。
だからなんで外で遊ぶんだよ。雪が降ってんだからぬくぬくとお部屋でテーブルゲームで遊べばいいじゃないかよ。
What, aren't you a man, Keiji?
ケイチくん、そんなこと言ってると冬場はいっぱい負けちゃうかもね。
You gotta eat the ice like a man.
ケイチくん、罰ゲームいっぱいでレナは負けない。
はうじゃねえ。
I settle things with a cross chop to the head.
盛り上がってるな。壁が薄いんだからぶち抜かないようにしてよね。
The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and a complete tea set.
お茶受けはごませんでいい？羊羹とか気の利いたものがなくて申し訳ないね。
あ、いいよいいよ。別にお茶を飲みに来たわけじゃないし。
And with those words, the smile disappeared from Wena's face. She did it. That one careless statement reminded us of what we had nearly been able to forget. I had wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little longer, but we put an end to that with those honestly careless words. It is the dude. The way the writing is with this game and how it can change moods just like that is so good. It's so great. When she noticed the smile disappear from Wena's expression, Mion too changed hers. It was as if the cheerful air that was like warm spring day until a moment ago had swept through the cracks in the paper door and altogether disappeared. There was no point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Wena and I sat kneeling without uttering a word.
どうぞ召し上がれ。
I wouldn't drink the fucking tea. Don't drink the fucking tea. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement at those natural words of courtesy.
毒なんか入ってないよ。そこまで信用ないかな。心外だね。
Mion gave a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders droop. We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that someone else would speak up first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do, and so we sat for a long time. At last, Mion smiled scornfully and opened her mouth to speak.
おいおい、ケイちゃんもレナも。逆はそっちなんだよ。用があって来たんじゃないの？そっちから切り出してくれなきゃ、おじさんも困っちゃうんだけどな。
Wena and I exchanged glances, and we both resigned ourselves. Wena opened her mouth to speak first, so I stopped her.
ケイチ君。
いいんだ。俺は来るべくして来たんだ。俺から喋らせてくれ。
Oh boy.
うん。わかった。
ケイちゃんが私に何の話かな？お宅のお嬢さんを私にください。ダメだよ。うちのレナはケイちゃんとは釣り合わないね。味噌汁で顔を洗って出直しておいで。
Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice. It drained the tension from my shoulders.
ミオ、まず謝ることがある。
ケイちゃんが何を？
Mion pretended that she didn't know what I was talking about, but I clearly got my point across.
綿流しの晩、俺は神社の祭具殿に入ったんだ。
I could see Mion's expression immediately become harder.
入ってはいけない場所だったのは知ってた。でもほんのちょっとした探検のつもりででもいけないことだったんだよな。謝る。この通り。
To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead to the table. I meant it as my way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right away, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sound of the clock ticking. That was all. When I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long, Mion told me to stop.
参ったな。いきなり直球勝負で来るとは思わなかったよ。参った参った。
I looked up to see that Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly.
ケイちゃんにとっては面白半分の探検でも、それが笑い事では済まないと思ってる人たちも大勢いるってことをちょっとでも理解してくれたならそれでいいよ。業に入りては業に従えって昔から言うもんね。
あれからもう何日も経ってる。今更だとは思うが謝る。悪かった。許してくれ。
I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened.
いいよ。ケイちゃんが悪いことをしたと思ったならそれでいいんじゃない？
Mion spoke like it was someone else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it.
みーちゃん、ケイチ君はちゃんと真面目に謝ってるんだよ。みーちゃんも真剣に答えてあげるべきじゃないのかな。
私は真剣だよ。レナには私が不真面目そうに見える？
見えるよ。
When I was giving her tit for tat, and so the room's atmosphere quickly began to grow sharper. She was right. Even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, it felt like she wasn't taking this seriously. Obviously, Lena isn't fond of that.
ケイチ君、もういいよ。全部話そう。みーちゃんもそれを望んでいるようだし。
I had known it would turn out like this from the beginning. Hadn't I come here prepared for that? I mustered my willpower and bit my lip.
ミオ、おとといリカちゃんとサトコを呼んだろ。
Here we fucking go.
覚えはないけど。そう思うに足る根拠があるなら聞かせてもらえる？
夕方過ぎのお夕食前の時間、リカちゃんが来たはずだよ。お醤油の大瓶を持ってお裾分けしてもらいに。
Mion was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I didn't miss her eyelid twitching just a little bit.
どうしてそう思う？
そんなに難しい話じゃない。みーちゃんも見たでしょ、リカちゃんの部屋。
Mion put a finger to her forehead and acted like she was thinking.
冷ややっこがあるのにお醤油がなかった。そして流しの下にあるはずの醤油の大瓶も瓶ごとなかった。
何それ。それが私のとこへ来る理由になるわけ。
ミオン、いい加減にしろ。お前が自分で回覧板に書いたんじゃないか。醤油をお裾分けするって。
Mion scratched her head. I heard her ever so faintly click her tongue. It was as though we found out she'd purposely given too little change to her servant. That's all I could feel from her.
そしてみーちゃんはリカちゃんを隠してしまった。
Lena hesitated for a moment. It could tell that she didn't want to use the word erased, and that she was struggling to find another word.
そして本当はそれで終わりのはずだったんだよね、みーちゃんにとっては。
そりゃあどういう意味かな。
リカちゃんがみーちゃんの家に行くことをさとこちゃんに言い残していたのは誤算だったんじゃないかな。そしてさとこちゃんはみーちゃんの家に電話をした。うちのリカがお邪魔してませんこと？うん、きっとこんな感じ。
似てる似てる。
みーちゃんはちょっとまずいと思ったんだよね。リカちゃんがここに来たことを知る人間がいたから。だからさとこちゃんも誘い出そうと思った。
誘い出す？へえ。どんな感じでかな。
Mion plotted went on as if trying to get to the good part of an interesting story. I, however, knew I had been watching Mion change the whole time. She was westwardly twirling her fingers. She had clearly lost her calm. Of course, it was really a slight thing, but and only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Lena was saying must have been a bullseye.
きっとこんな感じだよ。さとこ、実は今日食事を作りすぎちゃったんだけど食べに来ない？リカちゃんは先に来てもう食べてるよ。こんな感じ。
Scratch. Mion's nails dug into her knee.
へえ。電話の内容の記録テープがあるわけでもないのに、どうしてそこまで。
冷蔵庫にさとこちゃんの作った2人分のお夕食がまるまる手つかずでラップに包まれて入ってたから。
For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe that this person in front of her was Lena.
そんなことでどうやったら電話で喋った内容まで察しがついちゃうわけ？
長くなるから説明は省くけど、冷蔵庫の中身がみーちゃんの呼び出した話の内容まで如実に物語っちゃってるの。
Mion's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face.
これは
Oh, fuck. Time to take another drink. Here we go. Ooh. I'm fucking ready. Maybe. I don't know.
とんだ名探偵が身近にいたもんだよ。まさか冷蔵庫の中身だけで電話の内容まで見破るとは。参ったな。参った参った。
As if a dam had burst, Mion convulsed into laughter. Her laughter, though, definitely didn't make us want to laugh as well. Mion grew tired of her dumb laughter, heaved a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost seemed like Mion had lost a detective punishment game for the club or something, and her punishment had been decided. Oh, how fun that would have been if it were true.
とんだ名探偵か。みーちゃんこそ大石さんがした会話の内容までよく察しがつくね。大石さんも私のこととんだ名探偵って言ったもの。
As soon as she heard Oshi-san's names, Mion's eyes began to display panic more clearly so that anyone would be able to tell.
ミオン、警察はもうとっくにお前を疑ってるんだ。この家も大石さんの部下が踏み込もうと今も様子を伺ってる。
Mion attempted to feign calm, but it looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Lena's facial expression. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Mion seemed to accept the fact that the police were encircling the house.
村長さんもみーちゃんが。
富武さんと高野さんもミオンなのか？
Mion didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which were still feigning calm. At last, Mion, who had been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere of the room changed completely. Mion's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn you would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment, Mion had ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Mion Sonozaki, the current heir to the Sonozaki house. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal. It was entirely different from that of Mion that I knew. Now I couldn't believe it. Now I could believe that she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan. Mion quietly placed both her hands on the tatsumai mat and gave a beautifully elegant bow, as if this were really a tea ceremony, and named herself.
初めてご挨拶申し上げます。園崎本家当主跡継ぎミオンでございます。
Mion's movements were so elegant they could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. All Wen and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions which we could never imagine a normal her doing.
本日はようこそ園崎本家においでくださいました。当主お領に代わりまして皆様にご挨拶申し上げます。皆様におかれましてはいろいろお尋ねになりたいことがおありの様子。私にお話しできることでしたら包み隠さずお話ししたいと存じます。
What? What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her
本
eyes.
当に何を尋ねてもいいんだな。
知る限りをお話しいたしましょう。皆様もそれを望んでここにいらしたのでしょうから。
Wen and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mion. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Wen gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know right now.
どうしてこんなことを？
That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rika-chan and Sadako. It went for the mayor, Takano-san, and Tomiki-san as well. No, even further back, for all the incidents that had been occurring every year. For a little while, Mion couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it into more concise terms, concrete, she finally opened her mouth to speak.
その問いに対する答えは少し長いものになります。
Oh shit.
それでもよろしければどうかご清聴いただきたく存じます。
She spoke clearly. She spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago.
ひなみ沢村がかつて鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれていたことをご存知ですか？
Yep. Lena nodded widely, then shot me a glance asking if I did. I returned her nod. Himazawa was once called Onikafuchi Village, yes. I heard all about it that night from Takano-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the villages at the foot of the mountains and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic.
そうです。鬼ヶ淵村のご先祖様たちは鬼の血を引く誇り高き仙人たちでした。麓の村々の人たちは崇め、そして敬いました。ですが、そういう空気も徳川の世が終わるとともに廃れていきました。
The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended. And the tradition of worshipping Orikafuchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that lingered from the past were all to be detested. That was the kind of era it became.
明治になり、古い歴史を持つ鬼ヶ淵村の名称は一方的にひなみ沢村に改められてしまいました。古い因習を一掃しようとする明治政府の思惑が強く働いたのだと聞かされています。
The abolition of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures. An era had begun, seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were beyond their means to try and reach the same level of the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be extolled, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. That was the sort of era it was. Really?
そういう時代の激変の中で滝壺に落ちていく花びらのように、あっという間に鬼ヶ淵村は消えてしまったのです。
At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began. They won war after war, the First Sino-Japanese War, the Russo-Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out, they recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization.
この頃にはもう鬼ヶ淵村の不可侵性は失われていました。
かつて仙人と崇められた村人たちは否認扱いを受け、神聖な鬼ヶ淵村はいつの間にか疫病患者の隔離集落の慣れの果てであるという根も葉もないレッテルを貼られ、苦難の時代を迎えることになったのでした。
Thus began harsh days when one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onikavuchi. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Himizawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Himizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot they were touched by rubbing salt on it. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Himizawa, you would be kidnapped by demons, cut up into pieces and devoured. Never, ever go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during the famine long ago, the people of Himizawa gathered up all the corpses they discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onikavuchi's village historically accurate, filling history, all of them were believable. Oh my fucking god. Holy shit. Perhaps a chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of the people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end only with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onikavuchi, you would be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages where one partner had lied about it, as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. Fuck.
裁判も起こしました。出身の問題は離婚する重要な理由にはなり得ないと訴えて、でも敗訴しました。
Jeez.
出身の虚偽は結婚の上での重大な詐称行為にあたるのだそうで。
ひどいね。そんなの。
I've heard about such discrimination towards those in small villages in civics class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage there was, a modern form of bullying. Though I only memorized that because it was going to be on a test one time. I recalled being suspicious about it, and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan.
まあ自業自得と言えないこともないのかもしれません。私たちのご先祖様は自分たちに鬼の血が流れていることを誇りに思い自慢し、麓の人々を蔑んで暮らしてきたのですからね。その神秘性で麓の村人たちを怖がらせ、畏怖と貢ぎ物の献上を要求してきたのですから。
With that, Mion smiled for the first time, albeit in self-mockery.
太平洋戦争中は国民一丸のスローガンが流れながらも、ひなみ沢村の人々はさまざまな差別を受け続けました。数え出したらキリがないくらい。夫や息子を戦場に送り出し、15の女たちも心がすさんでいたのでしょうね。当時をよく覚えている祖母は、それは苦しい時代だったと回想しています。
Even that badly long war, however, finally ended in 1945.
多数の男手を失ったひなみ沢にも、ようやく父や夫、息子たちが戻ってまいりました。もちろん帰らぬ者も多かった。
Jeez.
それでも男手がなく村を維持することにすら限界をきたしていたひなみ沢にとって、それはとても喜ばしいことでした。
MacArthur's GHQ set to work industrially improving mindsets and strove for the abolishment of unfair discrimination. They could feel day breaking on the dismal night that was the previous era.
廃村寸前だったひなみ沢をもう一度立て直そう。そういう機運が高まり、村人たちは村を少しでも豊かにするために働き始めました。
During that time, someone appeared who built up a fortune through a vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather, the husband of the elderly current family leader, Sohei Sonozaki.
宗平は中国大陸に出兵し、ハルピンで食料倉庫の管理をしていたといい、撤退時に上官や仲間たちと共謀して軍の缶詰をごっそりと盗み出していたのでした。それを瀬戸内海某所に隠し、闇市で高値で売りさばいて大きな富を得たのです。
Sohei didn't spend that fortune for his own pleasure either. He entrusted the entire amount to his wife, the head of the Sonozaki house.
廃れたひなみ沢を復興させよう。村人すべては家族であり、この富は共有の財産である。現当主である祖母はそう宣言しました。この大きな富はその後のひなみ沢の復興の大きな力となったのです。
I see. With that, Himizawa came back to life, and that's how the Sonozaki family established its current prosperity.
もちろん闇市で財を成したことを妬む人たちも大勢いましたが、もう村人は気にしなかった。
They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who followed them. The giant family of Himizawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its influence. The Sonozaki family, the center of everything, would be exalted for a long time as the minds behind Himizawa's revitalization.
その活躍の中心人物がみーちゃんのおばあちゃんなんだね。すごいよね。大活躍。
Mion looked like she was honestly happy Lena had placed her.
ですが昭和30年頃にまたしても逆風が吹き始めます。それが缶詰疑惑でした。
That. What the fuck was that? I've been curious about this ever since it was first mentioned. Now here's the thing. Is the reason why the Sonozaki family is doing all these incidents, is it is it really a way to deter people from Himizawa? But if they are trying to do that, wouldn't that make people more discriminate against people from Himizawa? Of these murders that happen on every night, less people would go to the village. Why would they do this if they truly wanted people just to stop discriminating against them? Let's just keep going. Canned flesh. It sounded so hideous that just hearing it made me nauseous.
祖父園崎宗平の上官だったと名乗る男が告白したのです。彼の調達した缶詰は実は食材を用いたものではなかったのだと。
There's no way. Himizawa, a village in which demons lived and ate humans. They were just about to wipe away that cursed stigma. The light they had finally started to see in their peaceful lives grew hazy and disappeared. The shocking truth as revealed by his former superior. The stolen provisions from the old Japanese army that had been a huge cornerstone for Himizawa's revival had been canned human flesh. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Zoe just a manager of food warehouses? His superior revealed that Zoe Sonozaki did not have the job of managing the food. Oh, Jesus. In reality, Zoe's job during the war had been to exterminate pestilent mice and to transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, all because of the worldliness of his origins. As a result, though, he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained. Perhaps that was the only fortunate thing to happen to him. Finally, Sohei was enlisted as an assistant at the military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse than the low score and depressing customs of Onikafuchi village and the research they were carrying out. Could that have been, well, you know, the Bakuracho corpse in the old Japanese army or whatever? Kichi-kun, you heard of that? What could it be? I was pretty sure it was Unit 731. I've heard of this. I've heard of Unit 731. I haven't heard all of it, but what Unit 731 was, if I remember correctly, was this Japanese division back in World War II where they did horrible fucking things to human people just to test what would happen. Like, if I remember correctly, if, like, one of them involved freezing someone and see what would happen while they were still alive. It truly is horrible. It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in the war. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill the victims, how many days it would be when injected, how many days it would be when swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Sometimes they wouldn't even bother waiting until they were dead and dissected them while they were still alive. They would strap them into centrifuges while still alive and crush them in decompression chambers while still alive. When a live human decompresses, all the holes in their body get pushed outwards, and their intestines get pushed out of their anus like a snake winding out of it. Ugh. I have a feeling I saw something like that on a documentary one time. That makes me sick. And they still hate Himizawa, huh? You said it. Mion agreed with me, giving a faint, sad smile. It wasn't much in the way of communication, but for some reason I was happy to have it right now.
宗平がいた部隊はより現実的で温情的な研究をしていました。それは戦地での困難な食料調達に関する具体的な手法の研究でした。
The military's designs at the start of the war completely fell apart, and a chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefront. The food shortage led to malnutrition, and as their natural resistances warred, the soldiers fell to one disease after another. Spirit and morale warred as well. they wouldn't be able to maintain their forces at this rate. Apparently, that's where the research started. At first, it was to find methods of delivering food to battlefields. It was very broad, including things from violent methods like stealing it from citizens to survival methods like how to cook unfamiliar insects and plant life. As they were looking out the details, they kept straying off course and going out of control until they knocked down a door called Taboo.
戦場で一番入手しやすいタンパク源は何だと思います？
Wen and I knew the answer without being told, so we didn't answer.
そう。彼らは通常は食しないものを食材として扱う方法を研究していたのです。彼らは時には敵の、時には望まぬ食物をハンデでも戦い抜くことが国に報いる究極の方針になる。そういう競技を大真面目に組み上げていったのです。滑稽な話ですね。祖父を過去のことで蔑んでおきながら、自分たちはさらにその上を言っていたのですから。祖父はいつも思っていたそうです。たとえ世間の噂がどうあれ、彼らはそれよりもはるかに醜い鬼なんだと。だからいくら蔑まれたってちっとも答えないと。
At last they had a handful of test prototypes. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, however, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it. So it was apparently sent to the front lines. The cans were labeled meat substitutes, and so that they weren't accidentally eaten themselves, they stamped the bottoms with a circle.
お腹を空かせた前線の兵隊さんにはどの試作品もとても好評だったそうです。中でも醤油で煮たすき焼き風のものが一番好評だったそうで。
もうやめてよみーちゃん。気分が悪くなってきた。
Mona Lily was pale-faced, and she looked like she was having difficulty continuing to sit on her knees. Mion looked like she had more to say, but she sighed lightly and stopped there.
じゃあそのミオンのじいさんが持ち帰ったという缶詰は？
真偽は分かりません。晩年まで僧兵は世間の風評を否定し続けました。ですがひなみ沢の急激な復興を妬む人々はその疑惑を真実のように面白おかしく書き立て、村人をまたしても蔑み始めたのです。また子供たちが生やし立てられ、石を投げつけられる時代に戻ってしまったのです。
The stifling silence came back. What a seriously hopeless and sad story it was. They discriminated, were discriminated against, discriminated, and were discriminated against. Why must they attach worth and rank to it? Why can't they live without looking down on people? Why can't everyone enjoy life together? I didn't know.
当主である祖母はある時村の子供たちにこう言いました。
If they throw a stone at one of you, then two of you must throw stones back. The children asked her, what if they threw stones at two of us? Of course, the answer was simple.
2人に石を投げられたら4人で石を、8人に棒で追われたら16人で追い返し、30人に中傷されたなら60人で怒鳴り返せと。
Finally, the children asked, what if we were attacked by 1,000 people? Even that answer was simple.
1000人に襲われたならひなみ沢の全員で立ち向かいなさいと。それは決起を促す劇のようですらありました。祖母は園崎本家当主としてだけでなくひなみ沢の母太郎として立ち上がったのです。
Son of a bitch, man. It was halfway through 1955. It was a time when riots over the treaty with the U.S. were rampant, a time of battle and action. The people of Himizawa joined together and fought, treating unfair discrimination towards one as a crime against them all. It didn't matter whether that one was a child or an adult. If they heard that a child had been told off, then everyone would crowd the house of the perpetrator, acting as a whole. If they heard an adult had been treated unfairly, men and women, young and old, would all band together and stand up against it. If you meddled with people from Himizawa, you would be in trouble. They probably figured that if you can make others think that, they'd win.
ケイちゃんも町で不良に絡まれた時、たくさんの人たちに助けられたのを思い出しませんか？
We did see it in action. I recalled how much of an impression it had left on me. That the people of Himizawa boldly came to my rescue, yet the people of Okayama averted their eyes so they wouldn't get involved.
祖母が戦い、両親がそれを引き継ぎ、ようやくひなみ沢にも平和が戻った。もっともその平和もとても薄い川の上に乗ったものです。この100年の歴史を見れば、今の平穏など揺れ返す天秤のたまたまの狭間としか言えないでしょう。
どうして？
Could I really have an opinion on such a long and difficult history when I hadn't moved here more than a year ago? Yet I said it anyway.
どうしてみんなで仲良く暮らし合えないんだよ。高野さんに聞いたお社様の昔話はどうなったんだよ。
Man and demon joined hands and lived together in harmony. Didn't Oshiro-sama remain in this world to watch over that?
おとぎ話です。人と鬼は実在しても、それを調停するお社様は実在しなかったということです。
それでお社様のたたりを起こすことになったの。
A cool gust of wind blows in from outside, fluttering Mion's long, beautifully clear hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile without answering, and didn't even change her expression, but even that became a silent answer.
ひなみ沢村を再び鬼ヶ淵村のように崇められるに足る神聖な存在に、それが我ら鬼ヶ淵村の末裔の悲願であり、園崎本家の鬼を継ぐ者の宿命なのです。
鬼を継ぐ者？
我が園崎本家は代々当主の名に鬼の一字を加える習慣があるのです。私の名前を手のひらにでも書いていただければ一目瞭然かと。
I traced out the word Mion on the palm of my hand. Oh, she's right. The character for demon is in there.
名前だけではありませんよ。この体にも鬼が刻まれているのです。
When she said that, she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing.
いいよみーちゃん、見せる必要なんて全然ない。
ありがとう。
With just that exchange, I guess what she meant. Most likely, somewhere in her body, there was a permanent seal such as a tattoo or marking that proved that she inherited the demon. Mion didn't sit back down. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Mion quietly gazed out at the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I could never imagine the normal Mion carrying. It was the heavy, truly heavy history of Himizawa. No, of Onokafuchi weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to a man like that? When I wasn't saying anything to her either. Only the voices of the cicadas drowned out the silence. At last, after a long period of nothing, Mion murmured.
この5年間の連続事件ね。私が直接関わったものもあるし、間接的に関わったものもある。いくつかは園崎家だけでなく、他の御三家の君吉家や古出家が関わっているものもあるけど、その全ての中心に私がいたと思う。
She said it all without turning around with her back to us. At some point, her tone of voice had gone back to me and Mion we knew.
私は自分のしたことには信念を持ってるし、 罪の意識などまるでない。あるとすれば、私の跡継ぎも決まらないうちに舞台を退かねばならないことくらいかな。私を捕まえて、それで法治国家の体裁が整うなら、それも時代の流れかなって。この100年で一番平和なひなみ沢を見ながら引退できるのは、ひょっとすると歴代の園崎家の当主で一番の幸せなのかもしれないし。
Jeez. Mion leaned his shoulder against the paper door and sweated down it and flopped onto the ground. It was an act of such resignation that just seeing it made me hurt inside. The numerous terrible crimes Mion had been a part of suddenly began to fade from my mind. Hey Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can't you just try to struggle as much as you can? Try to run away? As soon as I began to think that way, Wena's ringing voice filled the room.
でもみーちゃんはリカちゃんとサトコちゃんを殺したんだよね。
Why? Why did you kill them? Was it because... Maybe because she was afraid that during the most peaceful time in the history of this village, that the demons of the past would once again be released, and once again people would discriminate against the village. She was so in fear of that she had to kill everyone that was involved with it. Except Kechi. Except for Kechi. The sharp points of her words stabbed into my chest despite not being directed at me.
他の人のことは殺してもいいとも言わないよ。でもとにかくみーちゃんはリカちゃんとサトコちゃんを殺した。
Wena's words were more biting than any I had ever heard. Even now that we all knew all the heavy history pressing down on Mion's shoulder, she had criticized her for killing our friends. Rightly so.
私が園崎家の役目を負うように、リカちゃんだって古出家の役目を負っていた。その役目が西宮殿を守ることだった。
My chest tightened.
去年あたりからリカちゃんが言ってたのは知ってたんだよ。西宮殿の勘抜きが重くて辛い。もっと簡単な鍵に付け替えたいって。先代の神主さんでも重いと嘆いてた代物だからね。リカちゃんに辛いのは重々承知だった。
僕がちゃんと番をしますですから、もっと軽い鍵に変えてほしいなのです。
I replied on the behalf of the Sonozaki family leader. Ever since this string of freak death incidents, there seems to be people who are insolent towards Oshiro-sama, so you shouldn't replace the walk with a simpler one. That said, the leader of the Kimiroshi family, old man Kimiroshi, if it's that difficult for you, we could chat, then I think it's okay to replace the lock, he said. The very fact that it was locked with a key was an indication of it being somewhere you mustn't enter. There's nobody bad enough to break through it and go inside, he said. Even if we were like us readers, I couldn't find it in me to argue with old man Kimiroshi, since I owed him so much. In the end, we decided to change out the lock in the storehouse and switched it to a really cheap and white padlock.
おじいちゃん、本当に大丈夫なんですか？バッチャもできることなら鍵は前のままの方が良かったと言ってます。
大丈夫だよ。心配性だな。何かあったらおじいちゃんがちゃんと責任を取ってあげるから。
本当ですね。君吉家の当主として責任を取られるという意味ですね。おじいちゃんもこの中に収められているものがどれだけ神聖なものかよくご存知のはず。
大丈夫なのですよ。このひなみ沢に鍵を開けて勝手に入ってしまう悪い猫さんはいませんなのです。にゃーにゃー。
Sobs escaped from my mouth. Something hot and wet dripped down in spades and fell onto the tattooed mat.
西宮殿に賊が忍び込んだという話は綿流しの祭りの最中にもう私の耳に入っていました。賊は4人。その日のうちに手が下されることになりました。同時に西宮殿に賊を許した古出家のリカちゃんと君吉家のおじいちゃんも責任を問わなければならなくなってしまった。
My tears dripped and dropped, until just now I had decided that it was Mion's fault, that she killed Rika-chan and the others. That was wrong. The one who killed them wasn't Mion. It was me.
俺が殺したも当然なんだ。
Jesus.
ケイチ君。
I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. If at the time I had stopped us from sneaking into the ritual storehouse, Rika-chan and the others wouldn't have to have died. If I had, then nothing would have happened. We would be spending our days having lots of fun like we always did.
バカだった。
If by shedding tears I could take it all back, then I would have filled up the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself for the crime I've committed.
ケイちゃんは何も悪くないよ。
Mion gently began to speak to me, as if trying to reason with me.
私は園崎家の当主として手を下さなければならなかったけど、園崎家の歴史なんか今にして思えば大したものじゃない。そんなもの全部投げ出しても私は仲間を救うべきだったのかもしれない。私がそんなものに屈したからあの二人を殺してしまった。それは他でもない私園崎ミオンが殺したということ。私には踏みとどまる100億の瞬間があった。でも踏みとどまらなかった。安易に自らの役割に屈し仲間のために戦うことを放棄してしまった。
Jesus.
だからこれは私の罪。私が殺した園崎ミオンがこの手で殺してしまった。それは何ら変わらない。何も
Her masochistic laughter was sad, especially because Mion boasted in the club that she would turn the tables on whatever predicaments presented themselves. It was so painful.
でもみーちゃんは自分の意志で一人だけ救ったんだね。
え？
As I looked at her surprise, Wena stuck her finger right in my forehead.
ケイチ君だけを殺さなかった。こんなにも強い力を持つみーちゃんなら造作もなかったろうに。でも殺さなかったんだよね。
That's right. Mion was so cunning that nobody could stand up to her, even in our club. If she had seriously tried to kill me, I would have been dealt with on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left out in the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after the other, for some reason I had this vague belief that only I would be left alive.
さてどうして殺さなかったのかね。鬼の私にゃ見当もつかないわ。ミオンの方に殺したくない都合でもあったんじゃないの？
それはどういう意味だよ。
Shh. Mion put a finger to my lips to say that Wena didn't need to talk.
大石は外で待ってんの？逃げ場は？
ない。ぐるっと囲んでるって言ってた。 無線でたくさんの車が来てるみたいだったよ。みーちゃん家の広い敷地を全部囲んでると思う。
Mion fell silent. One of his merciless words felt cruel, but they were meant to be. Maybe they were trying to lessen her good friend's pain, if only by a little. Maybe they were considerate, like she was trying to help.
自首しよう。
Mion didn't open her mouth, but she smiled just a little.
私たちも一緒に行くよ。親友を一人きりになんか絶対にしない。
泣くことレナには勝てないわ。
She rose, scratching her head. Her face had returned entirely to that of the usual Mion.
自分で自分の罪、どのくらいになるかよくわかってる。たとえ自首が認められても、多分もうここに帰ってくることもないと思う。
I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. So much so that maybe recommending that she turned herself in was, in a way, extremely cruel.
だから最後にわがままを聞いてほしいな。
何かな。
30分でいいからケイちゃんと二人きりにしてほしい。
Huh? My name suddenly came up and I looked like I was the only one surprised about that.
ケイチ君どうかな。ケイチ君が嫌なら無理にとは言えない。
そうだね。嫌ならそれでもいいよ。私は鬼だもの。ケイちゃんはよそから引っ越してきた正真正銘の人間。相入れることなんてお社様が実在して仲介してくれない限り絶対にない。
There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mion had been engulfed by heavy, unopposable tradition. The one who had forced her to kill her friends with her own hands. That was me and me alone. In fact, with me cornered, it would have been okay for her to blame me. However, Mion didn't say one word of blame. Far from it, I was guilty of the same crime, and she let me go. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I don't know whether I should be thankful for that. Thinking upon it now, I don't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika-chan and the others. This is the weirdest feeling in the world. I feel like I should hate Mion, but I don't. I feel pity for her. I feel... It's the weirdest feeling in the world I can't describe. It is... I can't describe it. But it's... I don't know. I just can't describe it. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear. The sins that Mion shouldered. So when it came to Mion's West request, there was no reason for me to hesitate.
ああ、いいぜ。
ありがとう。
私からもありがとうを言うよ、ケイチ君。
Lena stood up. It looked like she would keep her promise with Mion and leave.
あ、いいよレナ。ここで待っててくれれば。ケイちゃんとは庭をぐるりと回りたいだけだから。退屈だったら私の部屋へ行けばいい。なんだったらお気に入りの単行本丸ごと持ってってもいい。
嫌だよ。みーちゃんの本はみーちゃんのものだもの。 勝手にレナの家に持って帰れない。
あんたはこんな時に限っていい子なんだから。
Mion took Wena's head and rubbed it violently like I always did.
じゃあ行こう、ケイちゃん。
I began to walk after Mion, who headed for the hallway, when Wena suddenly stopped me.
みーちゃんもよろしくね。
ああ、
みーちゃんもう二度と帰ってこれないって確信してる。
I didn't know much about walls, but with as many deaths as she'd been involved in, the chances of her escaping heavy punishment seemed non-existent.
みーちゃんが短期を起こさないように見張ってね。
Mion might not surrender herself to justice, but instead choose to put an end to things herself. When I had already thought that far ahead.
ああ、そんなこと絶対にさせないから。
When I rubbed at her tears, which had fallen without me noticing them.
じゃあ行ってあげて。
I nodded and followed Mion, who had disappeared out the front door. I could clearly hear Wena sobbing from the other side of the paper door.
どうしてみーちゃんは鬼なんか継がされちゃったんだろうね。それは仕方のないことだったんだろうね。でもあんまりにもかわいそうだよね。
Something hot burned down my cheeks. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. This was the last of my time I could offer to Mion, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. Mion was already waiting outside the front door. Holy shit, dude. God damn.
Have you ever wanted to play? You could meet people and kick them in the face. Well, I got news for you. It's a place called Jimmy